Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's going on? What's going on, doggy? My pit bull's here. I'm RJ Smith. This is the Crazy Podcast on the Crazy News Channel. Welcome aboard. Today, I had something else scheduled about a serial woman murderer. However, early this morning, Jesse Jackson, the activist, the minister, the actor, passed away peacefully. He battled a very long illness. They thought it was Parkinson's, ended up being something else. It was a pretty interesting life he had. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories. I'll go over a few of them. Don't want to really get into too much of that. But there was a lot of controversy and there was a lot of good things he did. So without further ado, let me just pull this up and we can get started right off the bat. Okay, where are you, Jesse? I think he's right here. Okay. All right, guys. So this is what we got. I'm just closing out all this other stuff I have here. Can't see shit. I hope you're having a good day. Everything's going good with you guys. Shit is going down. You know where? In the Middle East. But we're gonna skip that today because I got some other stuff that's very interesting. First, I have some headlines, and the headlines I'd like to go over before we get to Dr. King. This way, we can get that out of the way. As you see on the bottom here, we have the ticker. And every morning at 11, when I come on, you will see that ticker on the bottom, and it will give you the breaking news around the world of just crazy shit that's going on, right? So you can always watch that. You can read that, but I always go through it, right here. The first one, wow, Logan Paul. Did you guys see this? Huh? This guy, man, unbelievable. Talk about coming from nothing. And yeah, he had a Pokemon card and it just sold for $16 million. A card, a Pokemon card. Who the fuck would have guessed that, guys? I mean, really, what the? Some people just have all the luck, right? Okay, so let's see what's up with this Pokemon card because I know you guys are going to laugh your ass off. But, it's Logan Paul.
Boxer and social media star Logan Paul just set a new world record with a Pokemon card. His rare Pikachu Illustrator card, get this, sold for $16.5 million at auction. Guinness confirming that is the most expensive trading card ever. Paul's card is one of only a few dozen in existence and was rated 10 for quality. He bought it for a little more than $5 million back in 2021, which, of course, if you do the math, that's more than $10 million in profit alone.
Not bad at all.
Who the hell can make $10 million in just a few years like that? He had to know that Pokemon cards were going to be worth a lot more. And he did great. What is this? That's over with. So, yeah, Logan Paul is $16 million richer today to add to his $100 million that he already has, folks, okay? Those of us here in the world that are struggling don't understand. They cannot compute. Anyway. All right. Alex Navalny. Do you remember him? He was the opposition leader to dictator Putin, Vladimir Putin. You can't call him a president because he's never really won an election. It's all been staged, right? But Navalny, I have a little cold. Navalny was the only real, I would say, the most serious contender against Putin. And if you know Vladimir Putin, some of you might not. You might be young. His whole thing is control, like any dictator, right? And if you didn't do what he said, or if you didn't follow his recommendations, or if you spoke out against the regime, you would just literally fall out of a freaking window, fall off balconies and shit. I mean, these people died in the strangest ways. Navalny was in jail. He was free. And I never understood this about him. I tried to find out when he was alive. He was free. I mean, he was poisoned by Novichok, I think it was, by Putin, and then he almost died. They rushed him, I believe it was to Europe, and he had been poisoned with Novichok, right? Very, very deadly poison. Miraculously, he survived. His one mistake that nobody really understands is why he got on a plane after they almost killed him. He went back to Russia knowing that he would probably get arrested at the airport. And what happened? He got arrested at the airport. Yeah, he was put in jail. He was given a bunch of years. And not long after, he ended up dead. So there are now test results coming out. And the Europeans are making some drastic claims that we have to review. Because when you have somebody that is going after someone like Putin, you want to make sure everything that you say is right, because he was the number one. Let's check this out, and I'll see you on the other end.
We've got some breaking news to bring you now coming out of the Munich Security Conference. The UK and its allies have just confirmed that the Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, was poisoned in prison with a rare toxin. So 2 years on nearly to the day that he died in prison custody in Russia, and confirmation at the Munich Security Conference that that was the result of poisoning from a dart frog toxin. We can go live to Munich. Our defence and security editor, Deborah Haynes, was there as this was
Oh, what the hell happened?
revealed.
Oh,
Deborah,
sorry
tell
about
us
that.
more.
Yes, so Alexei Navalny's widow, Yulia, flanked by the British Foreign Secretary and the foreign ministers of Sweden, of the Netherlands and of Germany, gave a press conference earlier today in which they revealed what they say is the outcome of 2 years of work to discover what happened to Alexei.
This is his wife right here that you're looking at. And she begged him not to go back to Russia. She knew, she had a premonition of what was going to happen. And this poor lady has really been through hell. And Putin wants her dead too. It's just ridiculous what goes on in our world, guys.
Navalny, why did he die in that penal colony in Siberia? And the details that they released are pretty extraordinary. They believe that he was poisoned with a deadly toxin that's found in Ecuadorian dart frogs. And this poison is classed as a form of chemical weapon. It's highly toxic. It's a neurotoxin. The German foreign minister says it's 200 times stronger than morphine and would have caused anybody to have been poisoned by it significant suffering. They say that they are releasing the findings of their research, which includes the work of British scientists, to the UN's chemical weapons watchdog, the OPCW, which they believe is going to be ramping up pressure on Russia. And they state...
Listen, they're just playing with Play-Doh right now. You know, this is like the game Operation, you know, trying to get in there without getting caught. They don't know anything, really, about what's going to happen with Putin. For them to say that is just crazy. Let me hear it again.
OPCW, which they believe is going to be ramping up pressure on Russia. And they state very clearly that they do not think that anyone other...
Yeah, listen, guys, Russia does not give a shit. They don't bend to pressure. We're talking about a Stalin-like dictator in Putin. It's a vertical of power, and what that basically means is that the power goes vertically, and whoever's at the top has all the power, and that's why you see him constantly killing people around him, getting rid of those that he suspects, even though he has no proof. So, yeah, there's no pressure building up on Vladimir Putin.
Then Vladimir Putin's Kremlin could be behind this attack. This is what Yulia Navalny, Alexei Navalny's widow, said earlier today.
Now, it's not just words, it's scientific proof that my husband, Alexei Navalny, was poisoned and killed by Russian government and by Vladimir Putin in Russian prison.
So here's the thing about that, guys. You can allege all you want that a dictator killed somebody. I mean, who's going to file the charges of murder? You have the International Court, but even we don't recognize them because of corruption. Certainly, nobody in Russia is going to prosecute him until he is removed from power. And that's usually when they find justice, right? Dictators like Muammar Gaddafi. He was a thorn in our side for a long time, did a lot of terrorism. Finally, people had enough. Started with Reagan. But, people had enough and they dragged him out of his palace down the street and unalived him right there. I have a video of that. Can't show it, damn it, but you could look it up. Look up Muammar Gaddafi death video, and that should show it, okay?
No, she was actually here. I'm at the Munich Security Conference. You can probably see the police cordon behind me. She was here 2 years ago when, on the 16th of February 2024, the news first broke that Alexei Navalny had died in prison. The Russian authorities subsequently claimed that there was nothing suspicious about his death.
Yeah, his face just turned blue and his organs began to fail. We didn't do anything other than not feed him and starve him to death and not give him medication and poisoning him. But other than that, we didn't have anything to do with it. And screw you, because he knows nobody's coming for him. He always uses that nuclear weapon bullshit, right? Oh, it'd be nuclear World War III. Nobody is ever going to launch a nuclear weapon. It's not going to happen. Japan was the one and only time that will happen. Here's the reason. Vladimir Putin, just like everyone else on the planet, has a family. He has a wife. He's got daughters. He's got a family thing going on, even though you never see his family. He's got that. So you've got to believe that Vladimir Putin would kill his family over sending a nuclear weapon. Because if you send a nuclear weapon to anyone, doesn't matter who it is, you're done. The whole world is going to gang up against you, and you'll be done. You'll be dragged out of your palace. Yeah, what was it, $5 billion, $100 billion palace he's got? But, not going to happen.
Talking about heart murmurs, some problem with his heart, but clearly from the work that the
Now, if you look at him here, you could see this is in the beginning when he was on trial. Look how healthy he was.
UK, France, Germany,
You could see he had weight on him.
the Netherlands and Sweden say that they believe.
And this is when he got sentenced, I believe, right? Yeah.
That this was far more.
This is when he got out of the hospital before he went back to Russia. Look how healthy he looked after all those years.
Far more sinister, and they believe that Russia effectively killed this key political opponent to
Of
Vladimir
course.
Putin. This is what Yvette Cooper said at that extraordinary press conference.
Only the Russian government had the means, the motive, and the opportunity to use that toxin against Alexei Navalny in prison.
And here's the thing. Only the Russians are known for using this, Novichok. It is almost 100% deadly. Navalny, I think, is the only one who survived this thing.
And that is why we are here today, to shine a spotlight on the Kremlin's barbaric attempt to silence Alexei Navalny's voice.
Look, everybody knows about Putin.
Now,
There's no
poisoning,
secret.
Deborah, is a pattern of behaviour we have seen before, isn't it? Notably with the Skripals on UK soil. The UK government confirming that they have informed the organisation on the prohibition of chemical weapons of Russia's breach here. But
Again, Russia, the oligarchs, and Putin, the dictator, don't care about who you notify, who's involved, who investigates, because every time he leaves Russia to go somewhere, he gets what do you call where they don't charge you? Immunity, right? Diplomatic immunity. So wherever he travels, despite the fact that there are warrants out for him from the International Court and other places for crimes against humanity, he has diplomatic immunity. The only people that would really arrest him, I believe, would be the Europeans, because they're the ones that are at most risk from him, right? Especially what he's doing right now with Ukraine, trying to wipe them off the map, attack them, try to take over the country. And now when they negotiate, they want to take more land and act like they're winning this war. But the facts tell a different story, right? Because Ukraine is kicking ass. Ukraine has killed over 1.2 million young people, soldiers that Putin forced into the military, offered all this big money, knowing that they were going to be killed at the front line.
What more can be done?
Well, I spoke to the Dutch foreign minister who was part of that panel that you saw there, revealing this work and these claims about this frog poison and its effect on Alexei Navalny. I asked him afterwards whether he believes that Vladimir Putin ultimately will be held accountable. And he said to me that absolutely he hopes that will be the case.
Well, it'll never happen. Even though they found the poison in his blood and that it's all coming out now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because everybody's scared of Putin. I don't know why. He's just another thug. What is this? This is another headline I have. I believe this is another story that's in the crazy news on the bottom there on the ticker. Oh, this is so cool, man. Listen, well, not cool, but this is crazy, actually, if you think about it. Come on, mouse. Respond now. What the hell's going on? Oh, wow. We got mouse problems, folks. Of course. Why wouldn't we? There we go. There it is. All right. All right. So let me set this up. They have made underwear, folks, that monitors your flatulence. Or, for those of you who don't know what that means, farts. Remember Fart Man? What was his name? Howard Stern? But anyway, these underwear, you wear them and they monitor your farts for health issues. Crazy. Who the fuck would believe this? Check it out.
Here's your first question. There's a text from Anon. It could be from me, though. I suffer from terrible wind. Everyone thinks it's a joke, but it's affected my work and the way I socialise.
I'd like to introduce people to this. This is a flatulence filtering underpant. Right. OK. No. And it's not a joke. It's made by a company called Shreddies. Yeah. And I deliberately...
They're called Shreddies, people.
Got a pair in your size, Adrian. Okay. So you might like to try those. Here they are. And they're used in chemical warfare suits, apparently. Because they contain in the back panel a cloth which is activated carbon.
Yeah. Okay.
Really? Oh, let me see.
So there you go. And apparently they're brilliant.
All right, calm down, everybody. By the time the underwear would register chemical weapons, the person's dead. And what good is that? You're finding out after the fact. It has to process through the body and then fart out. And the guy's already infected. It's over. What are you talking about?
Effective. Yeah. Brilliantly effective.
But is it damaging?
And they look okay too. It's important.
You're not...
I'm just looking at how they
But is it better out than in?
Can you imagine? They're called Shreddies. And if you like them, I guess you can get them at Amazon or anywhere, really. They're underwear, after all. Okay. I don't know if you heard this. This happened last couple of days, maybe yesterday, not sure. Very recently, though. This lunatic was at an airport, and he was having problems with one of the kiosks, right? If you travel, been on a plane, you know, you go to the kiosk, you check in, all that stuff. Well, he was having problems checking in. So his his response to that is this. 慢慢幫埋康組。推打入咧，我推冧嗰啲有啲啊，同埋推冧咗咩拉嗰啲聲。慢慢幫埋康組。All right, folks, look at this. This is definitely an unhinged man. He's a British man. And I forget what airport it was, but he's in jail. He's going to be paying for that. Wow, unfreaking believable. People are just lunatics nowadays, you know what I mean? They're crazy. What's this one? All right, so this is a story. I'll talk over it. I don't think there's any news to it. Animals we know are absolutely amazing, right? They make us smile, but sometimes the more dangerous ones make us scared, but they're wonderful life forms, right? And you constantly see these videos of injured animals somehow notifying humans that they're hurt. It's amazing. Last year, I covered a cat who carried a kitten all the way to an animal hospital. I guess she knew the animal hospital because that's where she went for checkups. But she brought the baby to the door and just sat there till she was seen. And then they brought him in, and the kitten was saved because of the cat. It's amazing the things we don't know about them. How would the cat even know? If you're going by car to get all these checkups, how would the cat know the route to take to get the kitten to the freaking hospital? Well, this just happened with a cormorant. That's a bird, pretty big bird, and presented at a German hospital, pecking at the doorway. Check it out.
Extremely unusual happened at the hospital yesterday within our own area. The cormorant indeed came to us seeking assistance. It deliberately, and as all evidence strongly suggests, made its way to our emergency room. The bird then tried to call our attention to its plight by pecking persistently at the window with its beak. During a short initial phase to assess the situation, it was established that the bird, while not suffering from serious injuries, was nonetheless considerably impaired. Our colleagues, upon observing the cont at that spot, noticed that there was seemingly a fishing line wound tightly around its beak, and upon recognizing the need for additional assistance, the colleagues agreed, okay, we need a bit more help. Consequently, they contacted their colleagues at Fire Station 4 of the Professional Fire Department. These firefighters arrived and wearing sturdier gloves carefully to...
That is a beautiful bird. You know, here in Florida, Clearwater Beach, where I live, you see all kinds of exotic birds. My favorite are the cranes. They were the they were the flamingos until I moved down here and found out, yeah, flamingos aren't really in every part of Florida. So it's another fallacy.
Took the bird into their custody. They then brought the bird to the emergency department where it was given necessary medical attention. This included a surgical procedure performed by a nursing colleague using the correct surgical tools. With great precision, she expertly removed the fishing hook and line lodged within the bird's beak. Yes, I believe this is a truly interesting matter, the fact that one can not only perform acts of kindness for humans every day, but also, and this is particularly important, offer assistance to the animals and other living beings with whom we share this planet. Ooh. To be able to lend a hand in such a crisis which, it's crucial to acknowledge, has been caused directly or indirectly by human actions. Okay. Something extremely unusual.
So that was a fishing line that actually got curled up around the beak, and he couldn't eat, couldn't call for help, couldn't do anything. But he went to the emergency room, this bird. What the How does this bird know to go to the emergency room and peck at the door? Right? I'm telling you, these animals know more than we think they know. It's a good thing. I love animals. Love them. All right. Well, today you might have heard, maybe not, Jesse Jackson, a civil rights leader, presidential nominee, and really an activist, right, for civil rights. He passed away this morning after suffering a long illness. About 20 years ago, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And until recently, they didn't even know that it wasn't Parkinson's. It was something else. But he suffered a long time with this, and he did pass away. They say peacefully, but does anybody really pass away peacefully? I mean, I don't know. Sounds like propaganda. Let's check this out. Look, I wasn't a fan of Al Sharpton. It's his protege, right? And I wasn't a fan of him, but I respected him because he was looking after his people. And he tried everything he could the right way, nonviolent, to change things. And because of who he was as a man and an individual, he was able to work with President Johnson and pass the Civil Rights Act. So this was hugely important. I mean, enormous. And he's gone now, unfortunately. But, everybody goes, okay? We'll all go the same way someday. Check it out. Jesse Jackson, dead at the age of 84.
Racism! Jesse Jackson said he dedicated both heart and soul to the fight for justice.
We must put a diploma in one hand, symbolizing knowledge and wisdom, and put a voter registration card in that other hand, symbolizing power and responsibility.
Born in 1941 in South Carolina, Jackson grew up under Jim Crow laws. By the time he'd graduated from college, he was involved in the civil rights movement. In 1965, he joined Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s inner circle, taking on a leadership role. He was with Dr. King in Memphis when he was assassinated a few years later.
High school graduation.
Ordained as a minister, Jackson began Operation Push in Chicago in 1971 and created his political pulpit, pressuring companies to hire more black workers and extend business ties with the African American community. In 1984, he founded the National Rainbow Coalition and launched his first presidential run. The campaign raised his profile, but anti-Jewish comments sparked a scandal that damaged his reputation. After losing a second presidential run in 1988, he kept his spot on the political stage.
We are a humane people. We fight for justice and fairness.
That's how you go about changing policy in any country, okay? You can call America racist all you want. You can protest against police. You can fight with police. You can do all that. It's not going to change the fact that you still live in a society, and society only recognizes peaceful protests, right? He was all about peaceful protests. You got to respect a guy like that because he certainly didn't have to be. It's a big loss in the African American community today.
Jackson delivered rousing speeches at Democratic conventions.
Keep hope alive.
And he supported candidates, including his son, Jesse Jackson Jr., who was elected to the U.S. House. In the 1980s and 90s, he helped negotiate the release of American hostages held abroad. And in later years, he protested for victims of police violence, from Ferguson to Chicago to Baton Rouge.
Stop the violence. Save the nation.
In 2017,
Stop the violence. Why are we dealing with this still? Why are we still dealing with this? He never really called somebody a racist like that because it's negative, right? You call somebody a racist, they really don't want to deal with you anymore after that. It's like, especially if you're not racist. I mean, I have been called racist so many fucking times, and I'm not. I am not racist. I don't care what color you are. It's all about our interaction and how you and I deal with each other. It's an individual basis. My beliefs are not on a foundation of holding everyone accountable for something that happens. I hold that person accountable. And therefore, I deal with everybody on a one-on-one basis. Now, there have been some conspiracies about him, all right? I'm sorry, I'm sick. I keep wiping my nose. A lot of conspiracies. Look, if you're in politics and you're in the worldview for long enough, you are going to be called out for conspiracies. You just are. It's all part of life here on Earth. But he was called the time traveler architect. He allegedly had advanced knowledge, according to the stories, of political shifts decades before they happened, right? This guy just knew what was going to happen. It was very strange. Nobody ever figured it out. But how else, if you think about it, common sense and logic, which is what we use on this show, if you think about it, how else could he really predict the future like that? Even Nostradamus, who they say made all these predictions, it's all subjective, right? Nothing is for sure, especially when you're dealing with conspiracy theories. It's all subjective.
Jackson revealed he'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And while the disease may have slowed him down, he said it wouldn't stop him from his mission, instilling hope in the hopeless. Michael George, CBS.
Yeah. Yeah. Great man. Great man. Unfortunately, he got bogged down with this illness, and that's too bad. His son, by the way, did get into politics. It was either in the Senate or the House. And yeah, he was removed for actual like fraud or something like that. But we'll get into that. I have this, but I just want to take you through some of the things that I'm talking about Reverend Jackson now, what he accomplished. And here it is in a nice little short for you. And I'm just going to play it through. I don't want to interrupt it because I want to give the right respect to this guy's memory.
In rampant radical racial segregation.
That doesn't sound very good.
To go to the back of the bus and be arrested.
He was just 24 years old when he began working with Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in 1965.
I learned so much from him. Such a great source of inspiration.
King named Jackson the first head of Operation Breadbasket in Chicago, an expansion of the movement to focus on hunger and economic equality in the North. When King was killed in 1968 in Memphis, a young Jesse Jackson was there.
It was a defining moment in the history of our struggle.
Years later, Jackson broke from King's organization to create Operation Push. In 1984 and again in 1988, Jackson ran for president, becoming the first major black candidate to do so.
We have proven that we can survive without each other, but we have not proven that we can win and make progress without each other. We must come together.
For decades, Jackson had wielded influence among presidents, world leaders, and business leaders. In 2017, Jackson was diagnosed with a neurodegenerative disorder, but he continued to lead his Rainbow Push Coalition organization until 2023.
Lay out the vision of what could be.
At Honda,
so I mean,
in the power of dreams.
He was a big shot.
What else turns teams into...
Now, I really like doing this because, what's this breaking here? What do I got? Yep. Jesse Jackson, let me go through some of these ridiculous conspiracy theories. Many people, you hear this about world leaders all the time, that they have clones or they have body doubles, right? And he was no exception, although it was a little weirder because the story was that he was a clone replacement. Apparently, sometime in the 1990s, he was called a clone because he had changed the way he spoke. And, changed with age, right? But, yeah, they said that he was a clone. Now, of course, I don't know. Sounds like a conspiracy, right? Doesn't sound like anything plausible. But you never know, right? Because for 80 years, they've been telling us that there are no aliens. And we know that's not true, right? So we know that things happen that we really aren't told about. For instance, like the transistor radio. We didn't have transistors until after the crash of an alien craft. But that's another story. He was also accused of manipulating the weather. They accused him of manipulating the weather. that he could actually make like storms appear at political rallies of other people. It was insane, insane. He was also considered to be, actually, the civil rights movement was considered to be a simulation. Now, that sounds really strange. He believed that society was a simulation. And who knows, right? And when you're talking about stuff like that, you have to talk about the alien diplomatic liaison. It's another conspiracy where they believed he was an alien, but he was a liaison. Oh, ridiculous. They said that he would travel around the world. Sorry. They said that he would travel around the world on international trips to cover meetings with extraterrestrial beings. That he wanted planetary equal rights. So equal rights for all the planets. Oh my God. Another one was he had a hidden frequency voice. Now, this one I had to look up because I wasn't too sure about it. Supposedly the claim is that his speeches allegedly contained subliminal frequency tones that influenced listeners. This is the stuff that people believe, okay? What else? Oh my God, the hologram. Do you guys remember the hologram allegations? Well, the allegation was that he didn't really attend certain events and groups, that it was all a hologram, right? That's another one that happened. He was accused of being immortal, which we know, of course. He passed away today, so that clearly was not changed or proven. Dimensional civil rights time loop, voice frequency. There are so many freaking conspiracies about everyone. It's not just Martin Luther King or anyone else. It's not the Reverend. It's everywhere. And we have to be smart enough to know what is and what isn't conspiracies. Otherwise, we're screwed. I mean, you have to believe in what you have to believe in. So let's check real quick. We are going to find out if there's any breaking news before I get off of here, because I won't be back till tomorrow. Let's see. Today, what do we got here? Top national news. Make that bigger for you. We're just checking to see if there's any news that broke. Jesse Jackson, Nancy Guthrie abduction update. Investigators in Tucson have cleared the family as suspects. They're now using a specialized signal sniffer to track her pacemaker transmissions as the search enters its third week. Now, is it just me, or did they tell us, I heard it everywhere in the news, that her pacemaker stopped working? Do you remember that? Just a couple weeks ago. You also have the Rhode Island rink shooting. Police have identified a suspect in a targeted shooting at a high school hockey game. 3 dead and 3 injured. It's a freaking hockey game, guys, okay? It's not that serious. I know fights go on in hockey games, but this is crazy. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who is also astronaut, right? I believe he spent a lot of time circling the Earth. Something was going on. He is considering a run for president. Now, don't laugh. This is some serious shit because he is a veteran, pilot, astronaut, politician. He's all wrapped up. The problem with Mark Kelly is he's polarizing, like Donald Trump and other people. He's polarizing. So that means you're only going to get about half, if you're lucky, of the voters. And that's a problem. Now, I do want to talk about the U.S.-Iran nuclear talks that are going on. I don't understand why the talks are happening. If we destroyed their nuclear, and we know they started building that back. What are negotiations going to do? Honestly, we've had so many deals and investigations with the IRGC. They never, ever held to any of their negotiations. They never stayed honest with it. So there's nothing for us to point to say, well, they'll follow it now. You see what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the Iranian people don't want these guys there anymore. They don't want Islam. They don't believe in Islam. 95% of Iran is secular. They don't believe in anything. They were free. They were just like us. They had a free market. They had art, fashion, everything that a modern civilization would have. And then these crazy Islamists took over in 79. But the good news is that the people have been uprising now for over a month. The bad news is that the Ayatollah has killed more than 20 to 30,000 citizens just for protesting. Personally, I would like to see them removed. We have 2 aircraft carrier strike groups right now. That means 2 aircraft carriers, 2 nuclear submarines, a shitload of battleships. So, I mean, we can take them out. I think what's taking so long is the president wants to build up enough force where he can hit them and it'll be over, like a decapitation, especially since it's come out that we know where they're hiding. And Russia-Ukraine peace talks, not going to happen. Russia wants all of the Donbass and all of that eastern part of Ukraine, even large swaths of it that they don't control. So that's not going to happen. There's going to be no peace talks. Vladimir Putin wants Ukraine, period. And if you let him out of this, if you say, okay, we're going to do a ceasefire, and you do a ceasefire, all you're doing is giving Vladimir Putin extra time to build up more people, more equipment, more missiles, more drones. So, ceasefire, not happening, folks. It's just complete nonsense. Not going to happen. I think we all know it. I mean, it's not like something new now, right? And with that, folks, today the Crazy Podcast is complete. I just want to say thanks for coming by. Hit the like and the subscribe, and please share this with your people. We are going from a short news platform to literally taking this longer with the podcast. And we need to get people to subscribe, to share, to like, all of that, so that we can build up this community. Thanks for coming by today, guys. I really appreciate it. I mean, you don't know how much I appreciate it. It means a lot to me when you come by. And I just want to say that. Have a great day.